As you get into the second half of the season, especially moving into November and December, things really start to heat up. So we understand where we're at and how much preparation it takes to get wins like this, and how difficult the schedule is going to be down the home stretch.
Do you look at the margin for error is small now, especially after that 3-0 start?
Yeah, the margin for error is always small, just because of the way that the league is. People think that perhaps the worst team in the league, somebody that hasn't won a game yet, is really bad and isn't ever going to get a win. And you see it every week that those teams come out and beat the people that are really good. And that's because there's so much parity in the league, and it's set up that way. It's set up to be good games and good football. So you have to be your best every week to be able to come out with wins.
I'll actually tell you now to get to work, especially after that Minnesota game and the running attack.
Yeah, for us, you're going to have games like that, and it's unfortunate, and believe me, we're upset with the way that we played and not pleased with that. But you have to continue to take emotion out of it and look at the performance and look at the execution, look at the technique, and try and improve from that. So when you take that emotion out, you look at the game, whether it's a win or a loss, you're still critiquing. You're still trying to figure out what was good and what was bad. And sometimes the run game goes really well, and sometimes it happens really well when you aren't executing right. And so sometimes that can mask that if you put emotions in it. And it's the same thing with when it doesn't go well. Sometimes technically you're sound and you're executing okay, and it just doesn't work out. I don't think that's necessarily the case here. I'm not making an excuse there. But my point is that it's important that you take all the emotion out and view it really objectively.
What happened on 3rd and 2 there on the grab before the last drive? It seemed like you and Connor had some miscommunications or whatever else. Can you just talk about that? You were exasperated after the play.
Yeah. I think that was a situation where we need to work on our communication as a whole. The situation came up, and we didn't necessarily know what would happen there. And we practice a ton of situations. I think we do a really good job of that here, trying to be prepared for whatever comes up. And that was something that we hadn't really talked about before, being in that particular situation. And so it comes up, and the play call comes through. We try and execute it, and it's a look that we hadn't practiced before. It's an adjustment that we needed to make on the run, and we just didn't make that as well as we potentially could have. So that comes down to everything. It's being able to execute in a crunch time with a situation that you haven't ever seen before.
As a run, you run the offense, being physical, that's been y'all's identity for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So 2nd and 2 on the level, you think run the ball here, 3rd and 2, and run the ball here, we got this. How demoralizing is it? You guys hadn't run well all game, and then you get to that situation in your bread and butter, you can't execute.
As the game goes, you're not really thinking about how things have gone in the past. You have to really take it one play at a time, and it sounds really cliche, but you'll find that the best people at what they do in our game really do that. They do the play, however it works out, you try and figure it out and try and learn from it, and then you move to the next one. You can't take the whole weight of the game into the last series and feel that. So you're just trying to execute the best you can, and obviously we didn't get it done the way that we wanted to in that situation, and it comes down to, like I said, a multitude of reasons. It's us technically, it's the look that they're playing, it's the way that the situation came out as well.
What's your confidence level in Xavier stepping in? What's your confidence level in Xavier stepping in?
It's high. It's super high. We're super fortunate to have the backups that we do in our group. Obviously you have those guys that are stepping in. Cam's played a ton of ball. You got X who's started a ton, and Joe, obviously, the way that he stepped in last year. So we're really lucky to have guys like that have a ton of experience and stepping in. So I'm not worried about having them in there at all.
Travis, I ask you this because you're one of the veterans on the team, but fair or unfair in losses, coach and quarterback typically take a lot of heat on Monday.
Unfair.
Has the criticism of Jason Garrett this week been fair or unfair as a player in this locker room?
The criticism. So I don't know exactly what was said there, and I think it's unfair generally to single anyone out in this game. I think it's unfair to single coaches out. I think it's unfair to single players out. I think it's unfair to single out groups, offense, defense, special teams. This is a team game, and team extends to more than just the players. It extends to more than just the coaches. It's everybody. It's the front office. It's the whole deal. And when you have losses, and when you have wins that aren't good, it comes down to everybody, and it comes down to everybody working together, everybody communicating well, everybody doing their particular job. And sometimes breakdowns happen because people are trying to do other people's jobs too. You know, it's not necessarily that people are slacking off or not doing their job well. Sometimes the problem is that you're trying to do too much, and I think we've seen that. I don't know if necessarily this game, but throughout the course of the season, you see that people want it so bad that you try and do something. You do something wrong because you're trying to do too much and help too much. So it's a little bit of everybody, and I think it's important that we share the accountability for that.
Well, you
Is this
have
team
three-
still confident here, head coach Jason Garrett?
Absolutely. You know, we've done well, throughout my time here with him, and I don't think there's any reason to believe that people don't have confidence in him in what we're doing. I think we know the level of player that we have on the team, and also the level of men that are in here and are working, and you can face adversity with groups like that. You've seen that in our group. It's not when things aren't going well. Nobody turns down. Nobody says it's over. It's always a fight to the end, and I think that's one. It's the way that we're coached, and two, it's the level of men that we have in the room.
When you have communication issues, do they get more magnified when you lose? 'Cause you have to
Outwardly, of course. From the outside, everybody's looking for somebody to blame, somebody to put it on, and so you're going to see that a little bit more on the outside. However, like I said before, when you take the emotion out of it, win or lose, those are things we're constantly talking about on a Monday or a Wednesday, whenever we're coming in to fix it, is where were their communication breakdowns. And sometimes it's the places that you don't necessarily see it. It might be a 3rd down and 10, and we make a big, completion, but we didn't communicate protection on the backside, and it wasn't even that the quarterback got hit. It's that guy would have been free had he held on to it a little bit longer. So a lot of that stuff gets hidden too. So objectively, there's always things that are wrong, that are going on with communication.
Appreciate your time.